What I'm about to show you is very fascinating and will help you hire the right people for your construction company. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how I use the Working Genius assessment to not only understand who you are as an individual better, but also how to leverage that knowledge to find the right A players in your business. If you don't know who I am, I'm Liz Chism, and I help contractors just do that, to help them find the right people, scale their business, and profitably scale without chaos. So in front of me, I have something called the Working Genius assessment results. Now, if you don't know what the Working Genius assessment is, then just take 1 second and I'll explain it to you. The Working Genius shows that there are 2 geniuses, 2 competencies, and 2 frustrations, totaling 6 letters. They go all the way from wonderment to ideas to discernment to galvanizing to enablement and then down to tenacity. Basically, a project needs to hit all 6 areas. They say that every project is a 6-letter project. Now, each person can have 2 competencies and 2 geniuses and 2 frustrations. So really, you don't need 6 people on your team, but you need 6 different people in order to plug all the holes in your business. Now, when there's chaos in your business, when there's frustration, when efficiency is really low and productivity is really low, it typically means that people are working in their frustration rather than their geniuses. And so by shifting just a little bit more into the genius or hiring for their frustrations, we are able to dramatically increase productivity in businesses and help them scale their business without scaling their chaos. Now, what I have in front of me are the results from 4 different people, like I said, and they all work for one company. So here we have the owner, we have his wife, who's the CFO, and then we have 2 other people. Just looking at this, I can tell that there is a huge shift in this wonderment, this pie in the sky, this head in the clouds, this constant dreaming. And I have a couple of people who are the workhorses. So I've got that E. They just want to do. And then I have 1 T, which is the owner, and he's the one who wants to get the job done, finish the job, get the paycheck, move on to the next one so he can go back to his wonderment. What's missing, though, is the fact that there's nobody here who can galvanize a job, meaning that they can create the plan, the schedule, the SOPs, the structure, everything in place to actually make the job happen, and the discernment and the ideas person, which usually go hand in hand, where the ideas person is like, okay, we have these issues on the job site, how do we solve them? And then the person who's got discernment goes, this is the best course to solve them. And then the galvanizer goes, this is how we're going to solve them. And so when you're missing those key people in the job or in your company, then it's really hard for you to do the work that you need to do. And so what ends up happening is the owner, because they have a reputation that they want to keep, they end up wearing all the hats and doing all the things, even if it's frustrating for them, which then leads to burnout. I just started working with them, and one of the roles that they're hiring for is somebody who is an E. And they're like, we can't find anybody who's an E. Now, of course, they're not using that language, but I can see that based off of this and then what they've sent me, they are trying to find somebody who can just be a workforce, who can just do the job, who can just put their head down and do what they're told. Except if they don't have a plan in place by the galvanizer, if they don't have a good structure in place, if they don't have good systems in place, then what ends up happening is they become the most incompetent employees in your business. And it's not because they're incompetent, it's because your business is missing the right geniuses in order to thrive. And so when you look at your business, not from a role perspective and not from a responsibility perspective, but from a genius perspective, you can start moving people around or understand who you need to hire and understand which roles you actually don't need to hire for based off of where you're leaning in your frustrations or where you're leaning in your geniuses. And so therefore you can hire the right people. One particular company I worked with, they're a remodeling company in Connecticut, and the owner is an ideas person. So he's I, and then he's also a D. So he has a lot of discernment. He has that gut instinct of this is going to work or this is not going to work, but he does not have G, which is the galvanizing. And so he was looking for a project manager to take over the estimating and the client communications and all of that. But he likes designing the job. He likes going in and dreaming with the client of what's possible in their home and how they could remodel it and how they can make it fit their family and how they can make it fit what they are dreaming of. But if he were to hire that type of project manager, he would then be stuck with scheduling and he would be stuck doing all the things that he does not want to do. And so what we ended up doing is actually looking for somebody who could not only galvanize, but also have the tenacity to finish up the jobs and make sure the jobs got done on time and on budget. And so we really actually hired a project coordinator for this particular company. So this one in front of me, they're going to need to do about the same thing. They're going to need somebody who's a galvanizer who can actually manage what's going on the job site and have the discernment to know what is going to be a good decision and what's not going to be a good decision. When you do this, you end up not delegating your geniuses, you end up delegating your frustrations, and you're able to scale with efficiency, productivity, and without chaos.